for October 20th, 2025. And can we all rise for a prayer or moment of silence by Councilman Ludwig?
Good evening, everyone. I have a prayer of thankfulness and a prayer of help. Heavenly Father, I come before you with a heart of gratitude and praise. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for every breath we take and for the countless blessings you provide each and every day. Thank you for the strength you give us in our weakness and the peace you provide during the storm. Prayer for help. Tonight, Heavenly Father, I humbly pray for your help in haste for please locating and bringing Maximiliano Hudak home safe. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And can we have roll call, please?
Councilor Ludwig.
Here. Excuse me, here.
Councilor Mangini.
Here.
Councilor Nasuda.
Here.
Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Here.
Councilor Russo.
Here.
Councilor Santinella.
Here.
Councilor Ungary.
Here.
Councilor Sakala.
Here.
Councilor Crisati.
Here.
And Councilor Hendrickson.
Here.
11 members are present, none are absent.
Thank you, Sheila. Next is, in the event of a fire or an emergency, there's two means of exiting the council chambers. Exit out the rear doors and walk a safe distance away from the building, or through the side doors, go down one flight of stairs and out the rear doors of the building. Next, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of October 6th, 2025.
So moved.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any comments, corrections, or concerns? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? We have one abstention. Thank you, Cindy. And then tonight we have a special guest, and that would be the Ernie Maynard family to receive a proclamation to be read by Deputy Mayor Pisner.
Cindy, would you? I know you've known Ernie a long time. Then come up here with me. You deserve this too. Maynard family, could you please come up? Appreciate that. We'll stand up here. Cindy, come on over here. I know you've known him as long as I have, so. This is a proclamation recognizing Ernest Ernie Maynard. Whereas, Ernie was born in the Skiddaco section of Enfield on March 19th, 1924. And whereas, Ernie enlisted in the Army and began his service at the age of 19, tasked as a communications and radio wireman and worked the telephone switchboard. And whereas Ernie served as a mess sergeant during World War II, he ended up staying in Europe during the Cold War to help with building by building searches for U.S. armament, papers, uniforms, and gear that might have fallen into the wrong hands. And whereas he eventually returned home to begin a career as a carpenter, decided he didn't want to do that work for the rest of his life, and eventually returned to the service after applying for reserve school at Aberdeen Proving Ground, which led him getting called back for the Korean War. And whereas, in recognition of his service, Ernie was awarded many decorations, including Good Conduct Medal with 2 knots, the American Campaign Medal, the European Theater of Operations with 4 battle stars, World War II Victory Medal, Korean War Service Medal with 3 battle stars, Korean Ambassador for Peace Medal, World War II NCO Association Remembrance Medal for World War II duty, and an appreciation certificate from U.S. government for Cold War duty. And whereas, Ernie volunteered with the Enfield Senior Center, Enfield Visiting Nurse Association, now called Home and Community Health Services, and was an active member of many organizations, including the Enfield Historical Society, Riverbend Club Monsanto Group, Post Number 1 Korean War Veterans of America, American Legion Post 80 and Post 154 of Enfield, ANVETS Post 18 of Enfield. Ernie was a proud member of the Enfield Society for the Detection of Thieves and Robbers, and he was the recipient of the Paul Harris Fellow Award. And whereas Ernie worked for Monsanto Company for 31 years before retiring in 1985, and at the same time he served as an active member of the Hazardville Fire Department, earning him Firefighter of the Year in 1957, an unsung hero in 1958. He retired from the fire department as fire commissioner in 1986, and in 2005, he was named Patriot of the Year by the town of Enfield. Now, therefore, I, Ken Nelson Jr., Mayor of the town of Enfield, on behalf of the town council, the town administration, the entire community, do hereby honor and commend Ernie for a life of remarkable achievement and selfless service. We recognize him as a true hometown hero whose valor in war, dedication in public service, and unwavering commitment to his fellow citizens have left an incredible mark on our community. I just have to say, I've had the pleasure of knowing Ernie most of my life. He was just an incredible man. And at 101 years old, he's still going to be missed. Most people say good life, but he will be missed. So Wayne, did you want to say anything?
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to say that my father was proud of his country, his state, his town, and his community. He also served his country, his state, his town, and his community with all of his efforts. And his wish was for two things. One, that you all smile. And two, that you also serve your community. Thank you very much.
Cindy, do you want to say a word?
I'm just honored to have known Ernie and have had some good times with Ernie. And he's an incredible human being, and God bless Ernie and his entire family. Thank you for allowing us to be a part of your family and of Ernie's life.
We haven't left the time. Well, we haven't left the time yet, and they've still back and forth in our town.
Hi. Just really quick, on behalf of Wayne and Liza and Lori and I, we thank you, and we thank everybody who came out to celebrate Ernie's life over the last week, 2 weeks or so. It's been quite a journey for Wayne and I and Liza and Lori. It's been a trip. It really has. Thank you.
And this is real.
I just have one thing to say about this. If you read the back of this, there's a prayer in the back that Ernie wrote.
Well, thank you, Marie and Cindy, and I can't thank the Maynard family enough. And there is a man who is a true American patriot right there. He will be sadly missed. Next, we're going to move on to public communication. Anyone who wishes to address the council shall first be recognized by the chair and shall state their name and address for the record. They shall limit their remarks to 5 minutes. After each person who desires has had the chance to speak, those desiring to speak a second time will be permitted to do so and shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. During public communications, item 7 on the agenda, public members shall limit their remarks to 2 rounds, 8 minutes. During public communication, item 16 on the agenda, if prior to 11 p.m., each person shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Public communication shall be limited to 1 hour unless extended by a majority vote of the council. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a whole and not to any individual member. All remarks addressed to the administration of the town shall be addressed to the town manager and not to an individual employee. Public members shall observe proper decorum and good conduct and shall refrain from personalities and improper language. Who would like to come up and join us? George, come on up. And Angela, you're on deck.
She insisted I go first. George Young, 8 Holly Lane, Enfield, Connecticut. Good luck to all the councilors if you're seeking re-election. Before you leave this evening, I hope we can spend a few minutes chatting about the last 15 months. In response to the completion of the annual audit for the year June 30th, 2024, I have just a few comments tonight. Is it possible to have the auditors appear at the next council meeting to explain to us exactly why Enfield has so many internal control issues and a custodial credit risk that has put the town at risk of losing money in case of a bank failure where the funds are not in the town's name? The last 2 years, it has been between $24 and $26 million. I don't think the town taxpayers can afford this risk. It is on pages 44 and 45 if you want to look at the annual report. How is the town responding to this? The audit also revealed that the town is lacking formal policies and procedures necessary to reduce the level of risk inherent with the finance and treasury functions. That seems to be a priority which needs to be immediately addressed. The report is also filled with so much more than the numbers, and I would encourage the councilors and, of course, those in the town manager's office to read all of the comments that have been repeatedly issued over the many years if you have not already done so. As far as tonight's resolutions, item 13E under new business is worth taking a look at. It appears at first glance that it is bad budgeting and or a robbing of Peter to pay Paul. It was necessary to transfer $103,000 to police services, $232,000 to B&G for electricity, and many other transfers to cover under budgeting and overspending or expenses that were miscategorized. I thought we had solved the electricity problem several years ago, but here it is again. It was fortunate that there was many other categories that had unspent funds, and as a result, there was no effect on the fiscal 25 budget. It should be a busy night, so thanks for your time.
Thank you, George. Angela?
Angela Foss, 16 Crescent Beach Drive. So I'm feeling better today, so now I have a little smile on my face. Thank you for all that you do. You know that I do appreciate you all. I hope it didn't come across wrong last time I was here. I was not feeling well. I still haven't gotten any information at all on the Parkman roof, and I know that you had asked for me to be informed about the Parkman roof. And no one has reached out to me from the town staff. But besides that, thank you for all you do. And yes, I do wish you all luck on the upcoming election. And I pray that God puts the right people in place. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Jim?
Jim Maloney, 39 Westview Drive, Enfield. I'm here representing the Veterans Council, the Enfield Veterans Council, to announce our annual Veterans Day Parade, which will be on November 9th of this year. We're going to step off at 1 p.m. from the Little Sisters of the Poor, St. Joseph's Residence at 1365 Enfield Street, ending at the Town Green. I'm also here to formally invite our mayor, our deputy mayor, our council members, our Board of Education members, police and fire department to participate in that event. All of the town residents to come out and enjoy the parade and celebrate all those who are serving today on active duty, guard, and reserve, and all of those who have served as veterans, and also to commemorate the signing of the armistice, which ended our First World War, which is why we are celebrating now Veterans Day. However, on the other hand, I also have a second thing that I'd like to bring up is our annual Marine Corps birthday breakfast, because in addition to the Veterans Council, I am also the commander of American Legion Post 80. We put this on every single year. It is the 250-year birthday of the U.S. Marine Corps. All of the proceeds from this breakfast every single year goes to Toys for Tots. This year especially, just like every year, there's a lot of people that need the help. There's a lot of toys that are brought into the post, as well as the cash that we make from this event. So it is open to the public. Come on out and enjoy a fine breakfast. And it's a perfect program to donate your funding to. Thank you to the council.
Jim, where and when is that breakfast?
That breakfast is on November 9th at American Legion Post 80, 566 Enfield Street.
Same day as the parade.
It's, excuse me, it's the 8th of November. It is Saturday, the 8th. The parade is on the 9th.
Okay.
I'm glad you corrected me on that.
No problem. It was going to be a busy day.
They're going to be busy days anyway,
Yeah.
but thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come to the council? Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on to councilman communications. John? Gina?
Sure. All right, just a couple of things. One, just a thank you to the Enfield High School Youth Vote Council for putting on another fun Meet the Candidates night. It's always an interesting night to be able to go see some people from the community and kids who come in and ask us the candidates questions. So I appreciate that. And a reminder that on Wednesday, the 22nd, which is 2 days from tonight at 6 p.m., there's a community conversation regarding the pre-K through 5 master plan, the building plan for the elementary schools and the pre-referendum. So that will be at JFK at 6 p.m. The theme or the topic that we're really going to speak about on Wednesday will be the conditions of the existing schools. So I encourage people to come out. Probably going to see a presentation and learn some things, and the committee has been working really hard. So 6 p.m. this Wednesday at JFK. That's it.
Thank you, Gina. John?
Yep, thank you. I just wanted to congratulate the Culture and Arts Commission for an amazing exhibit at Thompson Hall called Art Squash, which originally, when I first heard that, I had no idea what that was, but they did an amazing job having local artists create their interpretations of squash in various formats. I believe several hundred people attended the event over the weekend, and it was just spectacular. And I think that the Culture and Arts Commission has done just an amazing job evolving themselves over the last several years. Also, I wanted to thank the committee who put together the Jack-O-Lantern Festival on Saturday, which was a great family event here on the town green. That seemed to bring out a lot of people and have a wonderful, enjoyable evening out that night. And just a final note, just in my travels, the Enfield Food Shelf, the Thanksgiving season is soon going to be upon us, and their need for food is going to be greater this year than ever. And They are going to need, they anticipate approximately 250 additional turkeys this year over what they needed last year. So in your travels, if you can find a way to contribute or help the food shelf, please do so. And that is what I have for tonight.
Thank you. Bob?
Yeah. Good evening. Angela, I do have a quick little update on the Parkman roof. Just want to let you know that a PO has been issued for the environmental assessment, and once that assessment is done, they'll be scheduling a plan review and submit to the state for the reimbursement application. Right now, Silver Petrocelli is doing the design work. The budgeted amount was approximately $2.9 million, but it looks like it's going to be coming under budget for approximately $2.3 million, and construction is predicted to be done in the summer of 2026. That is the update. You're welcome. All right. Also, I just want to say this past weekend was, pretty busy weekend. I just want to mention that I did attend the Warming Center, had a fundraising event, and it went very well. I know Councilor Mangini and myself, we had to judge beards and yodeling. Maybe Councilor Mangini can, demonstrate yodeling a little later on if you'd like. But just want to say that the Warming Center last year was open for 121 consecutive nights. They had approximately 3,500 overnight stays, averaging approximately 28 guests per night, and the majority of them were from Enfield. So just want to say that it was great to be part of that fundraiser and to help defray the cost for the Warming Center, and it was very well attended. The other thing that did happen over the past week or so was the KITE annual meeting, which a number of us did attend, and hats off to Hannah Song, who is now the head of KITE, and she does a fantastic job, and it was a great annual meeting involved there. And I know our Senator Kissel was recognized for his work for early childhood education, so I just want to mention that. Other than that, I think we are, one last thing is this coming Friday from 9 to 11, our Social Service Department, Cindy Guerreri, Enfield Connects, kickoff event, and that has to deal with loneliness for our seniors. So, so that should be a good breakfast. There's Deb Bevins as a guest speaker, and I hope to see everybody there. Thank you.
Thank you. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I would encourage everyone to please, if you can, donate to the cause, or if you can't, just please keep in mind and say prayers for those that have been affected by breast cancer. Bob talked about the fundraiser. It was quite interesting, and it was fun. And I'm hoping, like Councilman, Crissati mentioned, that they did do well with their fundraising. That was the goal. I also want to mention Rotary is having a line dancing fundraiser on November 1st. It's at the Elks, $25 per person. From 6 to 10, and the money that the Rotary receives goes to their scholarship fund. So if anyone can come out and support that cause, it's obviously for a good cause, for helping offset some of the funds that are necessary for scholarships. And finally, I just want to say, Semper Fi, Marine Corps. My father was a Marine. He fought in Korea. And I have had the privilege of attending those breakfasts, and I would plan on this next one coming up to attend. And if anyone can show support for the Marine Corps and for our armed services and our men and women that are fighting for our freedoms, please come out and support. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Councilman Nasuda.
Okay, I just want to say to the residents that it's been a pleasure and an honor to be sitting up here and representing all of you, as I am not running again. So I'd like to say it's been a pleasure and an honor, and I'd like to thank all the counselors who have served with me, because I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate all the town staff who have worked with me through my 2 years. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. It was my honor. Councilman Russo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, most of us, we don't know whether or not we're going to be up here for the next meeting or not, but we definitely know that 2 are going to be leaving the council and retiring. Jim just spoke, and Mike Ludwig. Jim's been on for a couple terms, and Mike is, I think Mike got on the council probably before I was born.
Wow, you're a comedian too.
Well, I want to thank both Mike and Jim for their unwavering dedication and service to the town. When I joined the council, both Mike and Jim welcomed me. They took me under their wing, had some good conversations with them, always open to phone calls, texts, kind of showed me the direction, showed me the way. Served with honor, distinction, integrity. No matter where you stand politically in town, we're all very fortunate for the service of these 2 gentlemen. They've done some amazing things for the town, and they've left us all in a much better place. So thank you. I wish you all the best in your endeavors. Appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Councilman Ungar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you to Alex's Army for the great job that she always does at the Jack-o'-lantern Festival. And Riley School of Dance. She's so dedicated and faithful, and the kids love it, and the adults love it too. Also, I'm looking forward to the Veterans Day Parade, and I wanted to commend the Enfield High School Band. If you haven't heard them perform after the parade, they're absolutely amazing out here on the green. It's just wonderful, and it's so patriotic. So I hope we have a great turnout. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Councilman Hendrickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had 2 questions, I guess. The recycling bins, I know we brought it up months ago. Are we still giving away the free recycling bins, or are we now charging as with the other barrels? Just a question. I don't know if subcommittee or the town manager might know that one. And also, we discussed Town Farm and Broadbrook, the walking path there. We were talking about some kind of plan just for the safety on that. I don't know if we've continued that discussion or we have a plan on that.
They put guardrails up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All set? That's it. Councilman Ludwig.
So I'll be quick through the mayor to the town manager. I know general governance, we were working on, again, the possible moratorium on solar farms. I understand, obviously, some things have changed since we had this conversation. Curious if we'll have an update for Friday's meeting, because I do think it's important. The council does have legislative authority to do something there, understanding what planning and zoning's role is. But again, I think it's appropriate, with the amount of solar fields that we have on our farmland, that the next council decides whether that's a policy they'd like to engage in or not. And I know we were doing some research, that along with the veterans exemption. If you don't have an update tonight for Friday, I just want to make sure, because I know we're general governance on some of how we're going to go there. But I think the moratorium, there is, I think, some legislative things we can do. And I think hopefully that we're able to, at least in the next council, present that. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
So I had a couple of opportunities this last month. One was the Art Squash. I had no idea what I was going to. I was very pleasantly surprised. Joyce Balonis had this vision, and it was an amazing event. I have a 9-year-old granddaughter who's an aspiring artist, so I brought her on Sunday. and she absolutely loved it. So Friday night was great. I went Sunday. I was really happy to see several people walking through there at the same time. It was just a wonderful event, and she's already working on what her idea is going to be for next year. So Jack-o'-lantern Festival, that goes without saying. They had a huge crowd this year, but I want to give a shout out to the Enfield Deli and Produce. They offered pumpkins for like $1.75, and you could go in and get your pumpkin, and they set up the carving station. So parents could go in there, and they took care of the mess. So a shout out to them for offering that and making it affordable and a great event prior to the Jack-o'-lantern Festival. All the bleachers were full with jack-o'-lanterns. Steve, you did a great job with Captain Held. They were the judges. Great job. Kids were great. The costumes were great. And again, shout out to Kelly Fisher and the Riley girls. What a terrific time they do. And I love sitting in the candy booth because that's the best place to see all the costumes because the kids come up for candy. So it was a great night. I, too, went to the kite. Kudos to Hannah Song. She's doing a great job taking over for Brianna. She had big shoes to fill, and she's doing it. School modernization goes without saying. This is one of the biggest projects our town is going to take on. So I am encouraging everybody to come, not just people with kids. But you live in Enfield, this is something you need to have a voice in. So please, I'm encouraging every single resident to take the time to come to JFK on the 22nd and listen, ask questions, because this will be the start of the conversation, and it's important that you're part of it. I had one more thing. I did go to the ERFC Farm to Table. It was a small crowd this year for their farm to table dinner, but we had such a great time, and my hat goes off to the staff there. They had a little bit of a changeover. These girls pulled it off. They did a great job, and I just want to compliment each and every one of them on a wonderful night and a terrific meal. The last thing I have is the Register of Voters has asked me to read this for them in regards to voting. So it is. Hello, gentlemen. I'm going to say ladies and gentlemen because this just says gentlemen. We have a favor to ask you from your registrars. Would you please speak to this early voting and November 4th election Monday night? So here are the highlights. Early voting started today, October 20th at the Town Hall. Any Enfield registered voter can participate in early voting. The hours of early voting are as follows. Monday, today, October 20th through November 2nd, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., with 2 extended hour days on Tuesday, October 28th and Thursday, October 20th, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Same day registration takes place during early voting. So if you want to register, just come to the town hall during these dates and times. You will be able to register and vote at the same time. Election day is November 4th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the following polling sites. JFK Middle School, 155 Raffia Road. That is for District 1. Enfield Street School, 1318 Enfield Street, District 2. Town Annex, Fermi at 124 North Maple, District 3. And Henry Barnard at 27 Shaker Road, District 4. Same-day registration will also be available on Election Day at the Town Hall from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Local elections are important, so make an effort to get out and vote. And it is signed by our Register of Voters, Tom Kensler and Beth Jerez. So, again, get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pisner. Councilman Ungary.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I would be amiss if I didn't thank Jim and Mike for all their service to the town of Enfield. It's been a pleasure for me serving with both of you, getting to know Jim better. And Mike, we go back over 10 years working on the Board of Education. And I remember one instance where we were responsible for selling all the used band uniforms and sports uniforms. We had a big fundraiser and sold them in the auditorium, and what a wonderful project that was. It was a big undertaking. And so we had to get new uniforms because the two schools combined. But that was really a fun time. Do you remember what the donations went to? I forget
buy
who
the shirts when we combined for the kids when they opened up the school. The
first
teacher.
class,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, right. Yeah, that was great. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Okay, so I think you guys pretty much hit on everything. The art squash, John, I mean, Jason Neely, the Director of Libraries, Emily, the Chairman of the Cultural Arts Committee, the entire committee, not to mention all the artists. I have to agree, I didn't know what I thought I was walking into. I thought I was going to see a bunch of different squashes and, I mean, some, imagination in that room, and it was an incredible weekend. JFK, again, I encourage all our residents to get involved and, see the condition of the schools and why we need to do this referendum and redo our elementary schools. We did the high school, we did the junior high. Let's finish it up and get the grammar schools done. The Jack-o'-lantern Festival, as always, was phenomenal. The amount of kids and the pumpkins and everything. And I mean, the scariest thing there was seeing Steve Belinda as a judge. But anyways, so the kite meeting, Hannah, I mean, all of that. The Enfield Together Coalition is sponsoring the Enfield Connects event at Asnuntuck Friday morning, and I do encourage everybody, if you can, to attend. And it's not only about loneliness with seniors, it's loneliness with everybody. And just getting the word out there that call your neighbor, take a walk over, and say hello, because how often you live in a neighborhood now, you don't even know who your neighbors are. And that's what it's about, is to get people out of their house and, how come I haven't seen Mrs. Ungeyer? Go knock on her door. Make sure she's okay and, connect with people. And it is truly going to be a great event, and this is their kickoff, so I hope to see a lot of people there. As far as the council goes, I just want to say it's been my honor and privilege to represent the town and all of you as the mayor of the town. We've had some tough times, and we've had some great times, but truly it was my privilege. And the bottom line is we're all true volunteers here. We do this for the love of our community, and we all have the same goal, and that's to do what's best for our town, community, and residents. So I want to thank every one of you. We know for sure Mike and Jim won't be here, but, a lot of us may not be here. So that's up to the residents, and that's what makes America great. It's their choice, and it started today, and it goes through November 4th. So, again, I want to thank each and every one of you. It was a good 2 years. I think we had a lot accomplished. So thank you. Moving on to the town manager's report.
Good evening. Thank you. I was asked at leadership to put together a quick PowerPoint on a couple issues. The first issue that I wanted to talk about was the Edgar Parkman School Roof Replacement Project timeline. I don't have the same details that Bob gave, but maybe this adds a little bit more to it. So you all might remember back April 7th, because that was kind of the time frame that I was given to kind of move us through, but I wanted to do a little bit pre-April 7th. And prior to that time, sometime after 2021, when the referendum was approved for the roofs, the city engaged Silver Petrocelli and Associates to complete site work and drawings and prepare a cost estimate for the stated items that were required for the state grants. That led ultimately to the April 7th meeting at council, where you approved the resolutions to apply for the state funding, develop the plans and specifications for construction, and charging Joint Facilities Committee to oversee the project. And so that although there was kind of a pre-kickoff to it, that was really the big launching point for this project. The grant application for that project was submitted to Connecticut DAS on April 28th. all about the roof.
Just keep talking.
What's?
We have an unexpected visitor.
Oh, okay. Okay. The grant application was approved May 1st by Connecticut, the state of Connecticut. And so on May 9th, the work began on the design review requirements for the project. Continuing on, project was delayed a while as we were waiting on the environmental assessment. As it states there, the on-call environmental engineer contract turned over and renewal was delayed due to the contract language issues. And so it took a little bit of time to get the bid out and award it to ultimately Fuss & O'Neill, which started in October 16th, to start the environmental site assessment, samples collected, sent to the lab. We are expecting, and so now we're starting to move forward into the future now, expecting that environmental assessment report due from Fuss & O'Neill sometime this week. After that, the next milestone will be the plan review with Connecticut DAS and the superintendent of schools to be scheduled once that assessment report is received. We're anticipating that sometime in late November that will be done. With all that completed, we'd expect to go out to bid sometime in the early winter, so January, February, and the construction is scheduled then to start in June 2026, following the conclusion of the school year. So a lot of work in all that. We tried to make it as simple as possible, but the project is moving forward, and that's where we stand with it. I wanted to give maybe a little bit more of a kind of pulling out, on other roof replacements as well. So we've already completed 3 roof replacements that were done with funding outside the referendum. So Memorial, Whitney, and Barnard. So I don't know if we should pause and wait.
No.
You're doing a heck of a job, by the way.
Yeah, he's by the TV bracket right there. I would just leave him be, and we can, Angela promised she's going to get him for us after the meeting.
Gina and I are sitting on our feet. I'm sorry.
I would just leave it. I mean, 'cause unless Alex
remember,
wants to film this show.
Just remember, it's more scared of you than you're scared of it. So
I don't know about that. I see Gina down there.
No, I'm right there with you, Gina. I'm right there with you.
Very much focused. I was questioning my font and the graphics.
Great.
So I wasn't sure if that's what was going on or not. So under the referendum, we have already completed the police station and central library. Right now, in process, we have Crandall and Stowe going through. They're behind what Parkman is, but again, we're in the pre application phase with them right now. And as I'm sure you probably know, is Alcorn School is currently on hold, and I believe the primary reason for that is it's not a school facility, and we are working now to start transitioning that hopefully over to school control so we can then get funding for that through the state as well. So that's kind of an overview of the roof replacements. I don't know if you have any questions, comments you want to make, or I can move on to the next thing I was asked.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Roads 2021. So I was asked to give a little bit of an update on where we stand, but as you can tell, I always like to start at the beginning rather than the end with these. So Roads 2021, we've completed pavement preservation year 1, Moody Road, Cranbrook. I'm not going to read them all. Pavement preservation year 2, Hazardville West, and Enfield Southwest. So a number of roads have been completed thus far. And I'll give everyone a few more seconds to read the names. And then we're on. Currently under contract, the Meadowlark area. We've completed a couple of the streets already, but there's still some to go. The Thompsonville 2024, again, a number of the streets are actively under completion or under construction right now, and we hope to have those done shortly. The pavement preservation year 3, Post Road, Simon Road, and Weymouth Road, School Road, excuse me. I think Post Road is the only one that's still under construction as we speak. Enfield Southeast, Wallop School Road, and Abbey Road from State Route 191 to Town Line. And then Enfield North, Loa Drive, Holly Lane, Ridge Road, and Bell Acres, and all those are under some form here. We're getting ready to, or are going to be done next spring. Yes, sir.
So I have a question on this, Matt. You have Thompsonville 2024. Why would we do High Street if the state's going to take it?
So this is the portion from Pearl to Prospect. Yes, thank you. So this is the part that wouldn't be taken by the state.
Great.
And so most of these roads come off of High Street in some way, but are not going to be directly impacted by what the state would want to do.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Currently under final design is was considered the Enfield Midway, which is Homestead Drive, Martin Terrace, and Willstar Circle. Unfortunately, it all costs money, and there's only a certain amount of money. The pavement preservation year 4, Moody Road and Summers Road, both projects from Taylor Road to Summers Town Line, may not be completed. And then Collin, Haynes, Cedar, year 5. The design of improvements for these 3 streets has just been recommended for award, but again, we're not sure if there's going to be funding for completion of those.
So if there's not enough funding for those streets, do they automatically take priority for the roads 2026?
So I don't know how you handled up until this point. I mean, I can speak to before 2015. Generally, those that have been designed will be the first ones that get completed as part of the next referendum. I'm assuming nothing's changed from that perspective. Obviously, one of the things that we saw as a shortcoming before I had left with that is that it takes a little bit of time to spin up the design for the roads in the next referendum. And so we try to get some in the queue that we know we're going to be doing once the referendum is approved. And if the referendum doesn't get approved, at least, we have the designs ready. And if we can find other state funding, federal funding, whatever it may be, to continue, we have shovel-ready projects. So generally, that's how it had been. I'm assuming it still continues to this day.
Can we look into that? Because there are residents that are upset. They voted for the referendum twice, and their streets were on both of them, and they still haven't been done.
Oh, okay.
So, when you vote for a referendum, we should complete it.
Yeah, I think, and I wasn't here for the start of roads. I think
I can tell you.
And I know in talking to people about how that worked out, and if you remember, I think it was actually roads 2010 where we started understanding that issue a little bit more, because I think as time went from the first referendum, some roads got a lot worse very quickly, and we kind of prioritized some of those over the roads from 2005 that didn't get done. And it was unfortunate, but it just, again, each one of these referendums are a little bit self-contained. We go out, we redo the road pavement index, and based upon that, it kind of directs how those roads get reshuffled. But again, roads that we have designed should take precedent over roads we haven't been designed. And that's kind of what we saw in 2005, where there were roads that hadn't been designed yet. And so those sometimes took a backseat to new roads in 2010, or roads that came up in 2010.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so those, look, if they voted, those run a referendum, they should be the first 3 that are on, because the pavement, I know those roads, and I know the mayor does, their pavement, condition index has got to be terrible. They're in terrible condition. So just like sort of Willstar, which is coming at the end, I mean, that's an easy one. Those go on to the next referendum, and I know Donald will do the presentation, where I believe we were at about 75%, if I remember when you did this 5 years ago, roughly our pavement condition index. And so I understand, but 99 was clear when we did this in 99. Worst roads first. I get that, and I know there's some of the computer generated, well, if we fix this road now, even though it's in pretty good condition, we'll get 20 years out of it, whatever. That's fine. But I think we're down to, like, Donald, keep me honest, about 20% of the town that still hasn't been done from the initial 1999 road referendum. Those roads have to be on there. And I'm going to ask, and I'm sorry, I'm going to ask my last, is the Abbey Road, the sidewalks that are part of the last slide? I want to be clear. I know that's been a little bit of a back and forth. I know that was part of the referendum in 21, so I want to make sure that that's the sidewalks that are going to get done.
So that's, the issue from the funding on the sidewalks, that's where we know it's short. I think did we put a low SIP? And I don't know if you, okay, so I remember this. We did put application for low SIP, lot SIP. I always forget that T for some reason.
The project was from the Four Corners at Town Farm all the way to Broadbrook.
Yeah. So we put an application in for lot SIP for that.
Okay.
But it looks like it's going to be short in the roads project to do that.
Simon Road.
Going towards, so where Wallop is, the sidewalk, then we're going to extend them, to get a buffer between, which is a high traffic road, as we've heard. And that was in the 2021 referendum.
Right.
And I go back, it's on there. So, I mean, to the mayor's point, look, this is an easy one. If we can't get to it because of funding, we're up front with the taxpayer, it's on to the next referendum. I mean, I think that's an easy decision, no matter who's on it.
automatically be.
Because again, they're not one of those roads that qualify, unfortunately, that are in decent condition, and we're trying to get more years. And I get that theory, I do. But I know these roads off the top of my head because they're in tough shape. So, again, thank you for doing this. And I think if you do so just doing math in my head, if you're doing the elementary schools at some point next year, this probably won't, best case scenario, I don't know if you can do it in November or not, it would be probably the November after. So you're still a good year out, I would think.
Well, we are going to make a concerted effort to get this on.
Just not saying it will.
Yeah.
No, but again, I think, but again, 99, the whole theory, when we did this was, we had so many bad roads in town.
Yeah.
But the good news is the taxpayers have invested their money in a fantastic 25-year program where we're about 70% or so redone. And unfortunately, some of those first roads, to your point, are probably unfortunately deteriorating. But the roads that haven't been done 30, 40, 50 years, they got to take precedent.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
No, that's all right. Thanks.
So
Mike.
hopefully, in regards to that, we'll be coming to the next council sometime soon with, what the preservation index looks like for that, and start the process to get that onto the ballot for November.
Last thing, and again, thank you to, a resident came up, asked a specific question about a project last meeting, and I appreciate the fact that you made an effort to put a presentation together to answer her question on Parkman. So again, thank you. You listened to the resident, and you put together, so I appreciate that.
And we'll put this up on the website as well, so people can refer to that in the future. And I think that's the last slide I have. Yes, on that. But I'm not done. But wait. You guys added some to this, so it's not my fault. We have been working with the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority for some time. You might recall back in the spring, maybe April-ish, March, somewhere in that time frame, you passed a resolution that authorized the signing of the MOU once it was negotiated and approved by the town attorney. That is almost done now, and I just wanted you to be aware that we'll probably be signing that in the next couple weeks, if not sooner. I think one of the issues, if I remember correctly, is how our zoning and how it's perceived by them. Our current zoning doesn't have any issues, and they signed off on it. And again, I think any concerns that in the future, if they have those issues, is something that we can always back out of if there's a concern about that control. I understand completely. I have always had a lot of issues with states trying to control the local. And so I think we all can agree that we want to make sure that Enfield decisions are being made in Enfield, regardless of what's going on around us. But I think this is a really good thing that's going to help us actually get to the revitalization that we're seeking in the Thompsonville area. So wanted you to be aware that's going to happen sometime soon. Council had requested that I extend an invitation to Connecticut DOT to come speak to council about the proposed state service route 496, which I did do that extension as part of the questions that we had for them and clarifications. As you saw, they did respond back to the clarifications. We talked about it here. You still wanted them to come. I extended once more. They have indicated that they're more than willing to meet with council, but not in a public session. So they will not come, but they will meet with council. Obviously, I don't think we can do a meeting like that in public with only a few members. So I think the only way to achieve that is probably through a subcommittee meeting or something along those lines. They're poised to move forward sometime at the beginning of November with all the things that they need to do to create this. So if you still want to meet, we're going to have to do it either as a subcommittee or one member with them. I don't know what you want me to do to facilitate this, but I'm willing to do whatever.
So at this point, when you gave me the news, I reached out to Representative Hall, and she was going to talk to whoever you guys deal with at the state, and I'm asking you the same thing, whoever your party deals with at DOT. But for them to refuse to come to a public meeting televised is just, I don't understand that. And she's going to try to find out why. And maybe you can help too, John, and whoever your contact is, find out. I mean, they're taking over public roads, but they don't want to discuss it in public. That makes no sense. Go ahead.
So the departments are not partisan. There's not one Democratic contact and one Republican contact. The departments are part of the administration, so I would assume that Representative Hall's contact is the same contact as mine, unless somebody tells me something different. But there's no different legislative liaison for the party. So I don't imagine I'm going to get a different response.
Well, maybe if you push two.
I mean, I have asked the question and got the response that we got. I mean, look, the legislature is not in a position to compel the administration to do this. It's just not how it works. I mean, we're not happy about it. I mean, my best recommendation is either to get them to come to a subcommittee meeting or have a smaller group meeting to have the discussion with whoever wants to have it. You may not like that answer, but I think it's in our best interest to have a discussion that may not be exactly what we want than to have no discussion at all. That's just my recommendation, especially given I was not aware that they were going to start making inroads into this at the beginning of November. Wasn't aware of that timeline. So we have 20 days, 10 days. I mean, I wouldn't be just waiting, hoping that they're going to change their mind. I'd rather have the meeting and the conversation. I think that that's probably better for us to pursue a discussion with somebody from the town. I'm happy to facilitate that conversation. But if I don't see them, I just wouldn't hold out them changing their mind in the next 11 days.
Right. Okay. So we'll see what the rep Carol can do, John Kissel can do, and John's already supposedly tried. But, I mean, people talk about transparency. They want to come into our town, take our roads, and don't want to sit down and explain to the public what they're doing and why they're doing it, why they're taking High Street over North Main Street. I mean, that's a no-brainer. People want an answer. So, yeah.
I will wait direction on that.
So, go ahead.
I would suggest maybe we give the town manager direction to try to have some sort of conversation. That
No,
would be my,
the
choice.
The direction is, it's a public meeting, and we're not doing things behind closed
Okay.
doors that the public don't want to see. So I'm asking for your help to push harder, Carol's help, and John Kissel's, because this is unacceptable. They have public meetings all the time on TV. So to not want to come to Enfield on something like this is bewildering. So that's where we're at, Matt. And when Carol gets back to me and John with what they find out at that point, worst case scenario, if we have to do a subcommittee meeting, then that's what we have to do, but that's unacceptable. So go ahead, Mike.
Only thing, whatever it turns out, can we put the number and the contact of the DOT on our website when they start taking the road, and so folks can call if they don't want to come here? At least give the number and say, look, if you're interested, call 240 blah, 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 and Joe is the contact. It's a cop-out. I mean, look, let's be straightforward here. It's a cop-out. And if they're going to take the road, then they own it. And I think, again, the concern, as you showed, we have multiple roads that are adjacent to that street that are getting done on a road referendum. It concerns me that they're going to take High Street over, and we're doing all that work, which needed work too, by the way. Those roads were in, again, tough shape. But again, there's more than just, again, I would rather, let's put their number and a contact on our website, so people can know who to call.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Matt.
At a previous council meeting, it was brought up about the swing set at the Central Library Playground and the missing swings. We did look into that. The swings, there was some discussion, I believe, between the town and the Rotary about replacing those. And just maybe a little bit of context, the swings, the issue with the swings were where they connected to the top. That had worn out after many years in the swinging and everything to where they're constructed.
Pivots.
What is it?
The pivots.
Pivots, yes. You reminded me the last time about that. The pivots had worn down and needed to be replaced, but it's very specialized, and only one company you can get that from. And so it's about $4,500 is what it ended up being. I think there was a reluctance from the Rotary to pay that, and so we are trying to find the money internally to be able to replace that. I don't have a time frame on that yet, but we are working to get those replaced.
Okay, so before, I want to clarify. I did speak with Joe at the Rotary. The problem is, when we approached them, they had to have their committee meeting to discuss it. When they had the committee meeting, we had just missed the grant deadline. So they are applying for another grant, but they can't commit the funds until they know they've been awarded the grant. So the Rotary has been a phenomenal partner with the town of Enfield. They would love to help. Unfortunately, this kind of fell between them, so they're going to try, but they can't make a promise. So again, I want to thank the Rotary. That playground wouldn't be there if it weren't for them. So, and I do think it is the town's responsibility to keep it maintained. And, you know, again, great partner, love them. They do wonderful things for our community.
Thank you for that. The other item was brought up was the blacktop at Henry Barnard. There was the depression, the sinkhole, yes. So we have looked at it. It's something that's been there for quite a while. We believe we know what is causing that area to do that, but unfortunately, until you actually dig it up, you're never going to know what it is, and you don't know the expansion of it. I've spoken to staff about it. They feel at this point in time that the money isn't available within the maintenance of buildings to cover that, but that's something we're going to put on the list. If we don't take care of it sometime in this budget year, you're going to see that as a priority in next year's budget, definitely. School audit. So I have confirmed that a draft has been completed. I believe it is in the hands of the superintendent right now for his review. And I should have a draft of that officially within the next week or so. And after that, it's probably going to be released. So we're probably looking sometime in early November for that to be officially released and presented to you. And as that relates, and I understand that I'm now past November, but as a council, would you like that audit firm, to come and do a presentation on it? Or would you, again?
I would say as soon as the audit's complete, it's released to the public. And then at the first official meeting of the new council, they come in as a special guest. That gives the public time to digest the document, however big it's going to be, or small. And so they can have their questions ready for the first meeting. Let's get the new council off with a bang and, get the fun stuff going.
Okay.
And Mike, I'm sure you'll be home watching. Jim, both of you? All right.
There was a discussion at the last council meeting about the crosswalk that once was there on Pearl Street in front of the Coronas in our parking lot. And sometime around, I think, after 2007, it disappeared and has been gone ever since. I do agree that traffic coming down through there for some reason does go a lot faster than what it needs to be. So there is definitely a desire to do something with that. There are some issues that we have to work through in terms of the ADA capacity and things like that. So it's not something that I'm able to say we're definitely going to do right now, but it's something that we're looking at. I think the other piece of this in the back of our minds we have to remember is we received $1 million, I believe, from Congressman Courtney to do a streetscape in that area. And we know doing it right, we'll do it right as part of that. So we don't necessarily want to go and spend a lot of money because, one of the issues is you have to have, the right ramp and grade and everything. And we do have granite curbs along there, which I don't know if you looked at the pricing on that a little bit. So we'd rather do it all right as part of that project. But I think there may be some ways that we can do it not so right, but still achieve the goals. But we just have to work through it a little bit more. So we do have it as a priority to get done, and hopefully by the next council meeting, I'll be able to say more about that.
So for time being, did you have your hand up, John? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So so it's not as simple as throwing some paint down and saying there's a crosswalk, right? We would need to have posts with signs that say there's a crosswalk there, so cars are alerted to that. It needs to have, as you said, the curb cuts. It's not just a simple put some paint on the road and make the crosswalk.
Yeah, I think if we're going to achieve the goal, you do need to have advance notice of the crosswalk so people know that it's there.
Right.
Because again, one of the issues is you have kind of a grade coming down, coming from the east. It's pretty good sight visibility even coming around the curve there, but it's really that difference in elevation, at least to me, that it's not as clear. So you need a little bit of advance notice. But again, that's not necessarily hard to do. We would need to do that. I think the bigger concern for us is so we're not getting into a lot of structural issues there. We would need to keep that from going from curb to curb, and so it's going to be a slight angle coming back to where the corner is in the market, and we're going to be going across the drive apron, going over a driveway to get to the landing spot. And so it's a little bit more tricky to make sure that we have safe, from point to point.
Right, but let me ask you a question. How many, I've gotten no emails or concerns from residents down there, met with business owners down there. Have you gotten emails or concerns from people down there other than the one comment that was made at our last meeting?
I think I'm trying to remember any of my emails I've ever sent. I want to say that I've had at least someone talk to me about it. But again, I don't know if it was an email or if it was a conversation. So,
right. This doesn't seem to be a real big. I mean, we're not getting inundated with this concern.
Well, I would say from the risk management, and I appreciate exactly what you're saying. From a risk management perspective, you know, when you're put on notice and then something happens, you want to have a plan, at least moving forward. And again, I think we have a long-term plan, which is if we can get to the streetscape part of this, we have a plan. We just don't have one right now, and it would be good at least to do something, or do nothing but create a safer environment there. And that may be signage as well. So I think we need to do something. I'm not sure if putting paint on the road is the right thing to do.
All set? Well, I have gotten complaints, and I shop at Corona's, and I think they got some of the best meat that you can buy in this town. Their family packs are the best. They have personally asked Pat Tellerita, who owns the fire station next door. I spoke with him, and we all know that crosswalk's been there for 100+ years. And that crosswalk is really a dedicated crosswalk for Corona's. Now, Pat Tellerita now owns the building. Now, the crosswalk did always go to that driveway entrance, which goes, the ramps are already in place, so all of that's taken care of. And he said he has no problem putting it back as long as the town signed a release that it is his property and he cannot be held responsible if something happened, which I totally respect that. And I think he is being more than a fair partner with the town because he wants the crosswalk put back in. You know, the crosswalks that are down there, they are no rhyme or reason. They don't go to anywhere. Instead of the one that was there actually went to the store. So I've gotten complaints. I guess I just shop downtown more than John does because I hear it and I see it for myself. The people crossing from our parking lot to Corona's with no crosswalk. And it's got to stop before somebody gets run over. Mike.
So two things. I appreciate your point about you get a complaint, you want to take care of it. Again, I understand there's money there, but we also have TIF money, which you could use. Again, not suggesting we double taxpayer money, but there is money to use. That wouldn't be a lot. And I think to your point, there's a bigger issue, actually. And I actually personally went through it today if you pull out of North Main and you're going left, and there's a car parked right on the corner, you cannot see, you have to edge all the way out. There's no way you can see the car coming around the corner. It is, I have to admit, it's pretty dangerous. That actually is the issue is that if a car, we have parking on the side of that building. I'm sorry, I should have noticed what the sign, I know there's some signs you have, I think it's 15-minute parking or something, if I remember correctly. But we should be making it at least 30, 40, if there's, if Matt Meyer can take a look and move it farther, because there's no way when you're pulling left, you can see that car coming around the corner. And there is the crosswalk there, so that's where that one crosswalk is. But the other one, so it's really, to your point, it's sort of multifaceted other than just the crosswalk itself, which if we want to solve it, we can use TIF money if we choose to do it. And then the larger issue is, can we look at that corner? Like I said, if you should go down and try to pull out coming from North Main, you cannot see a car coming around that corner. And if it's flying, you're going to get, I'm just saying it's just, so I think it's a multifaceted thing. So I appreciate you looking at it that way.
There's probably a half dozen sightline issues down there.
That one, you could not. If it's flying, you don't have much time.
Yep. I think long term, we have to do some of the traffic calming things that they say you should do in downtowns to slow it down. And again, they fit really well with streetscape projects. The bump outs and the way you protect the parking, creating that walkway to be shorter rather than longer across there. All those things will be done, and I think temporarily, there's things we can do to get us to that, because it's going to be a few years to get there. But we will act upon it. And again, as soon as I have a definitive answer to everything, and if we have the money to do it, we'll
And
see
sorry,
what
not
can
to
be done.
belabor the point, but if the state goes through, they're going to take
Right.
the road anyways.
That's why
It's
I
kinda-
want it
it's kinda-
in before the state takes it. Because once the state owns it, we can't even get a sign on a state road. A red light at Enfield High School. All right, thank you for the update, Matt.
So that was all my prepared ones. The solar farm moratorium, I think the discussion really was that the next council would be taking that up. I definitely agree that we need to be protecting our farmland. And I really think that's a multifaceted approach as well we need to do, working with our conservation and ag commission, and really making it a whole process rather than just looking for a moratorium. I think there's some work we need to do and a lot of that. But so I think that's going to be on the list for the next council to discuss. The veterans exemption, the additional one, again, I think that's going to general government, so we'll talk a little bit about that at the next meeting. Recycling bins, let me get back to you on that one. I don't have a quick answer for you, but I will hopefully tomorrow. And related to the safety for the Post Office Road, Town Farm Road, that area, as well as the extension that was done, I know in the newer area, there is some money that's still left over to do some work to help on Broadbrook there, I think, where it's at. And I know Public Safety Committee has talked about the other parts of it as well. So we are putting something together. I know it's not a great answer right now because off the top of my head, I cannot remember everything that was discussed. So I will try to get something more formalized to you tomorrow. And that's it.
Thank you, Matt. Town Attorney's report.
I don't have a report tonight.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's very nice to see you. Reports
Mayor?
of special committees.
Mr. Mayor, before
I just wanted to say a couple of things to Councilor Jim Nasuda and Councilor Mike Ledwick. It was a pleasure working with you guys the last 2 years. And good luck in your future endeavors, whatever it is, spending time with family or hopefully watching the Giants win a football game. I mean, we're still in pain from yesterday. And to the whole council at large, I really enjoyed working with you this past few years, whether marching down the torchlight, the jack-o'-lantern festival, the concerts, everything. It's really been a pleasure. And I always say my two favorite councils are the one that's the outgoing council and the incoming new council. That's just the attitude I have. And I thank you for the privilege of letting me sit in this seat. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Reports of special committees, seeing none. Unfinished business. A resolution to abate motor vehicle taxes for 7 Matheson Avenue. Resolved that the Enfield Town Council, as authorized to do so under the Connecticut General Statutes 12-124, does hereby abate any tax and interest due on motor vehicles owned by Rachel M. Turner for the grand list of October 1st, 2024, date prepared 9/26/2025, prepared by John A. Wilcox, Director of Finance.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call, please. Oh,
Do we need to move to take this off the table first?
Yes, we should.
Sorry.
Motion to remove.
Second.
all in favor of removing?
Okay.
Good enough?
Sorry.
No problem. You want me to read it again?
No.
You sure?
Once was enough.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Counselor Ludwig. 4. Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
4.
Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
And Counselor Crisati.
4.
And Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Thank you. Next is a request for transfer of funds for the repair of the fire alarm systems at Edgar H. Parkman School and the Stowe Early Learning Center, not to exceed $150,000. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6. Oh, Jesus. Motion to approve the consent. I thought we took them off the consent. Right. All right. Roll call. All in favor? It's unanimous. I thought we removed them from consent.
No, you added it.
Yeah. Oh, we added it.
Added it, yeah.
All right. So, thank you, John. Next is appointments, Town Council appointed, Enfield Cultural Arts Commission. Is there a motion to appoint?
I'd like to appoint Marilyn Coles.
Motion's made and seconded. Are there any other
Motion to close
nominations?
nominations.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of closing nominations? All in favor of Marilyn Coles? Opposed? One abstention, and that's Councilman Crissati. Next is a resolution to transfer funds for the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, SAMHSA, Sober Truth on Preventing Underage Drinking, STOP Act grant in the amount of $60,000 a year for the fiscal years of 2026 through 2029. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfer is hereby made. Be it further resolved that any funds remaining in the end of a fiscal year may, during the lifetime of the grant, can be carried forward into the next fiscal year, but no longer than September 30th, 2029. From Stop Act Grant revenue, $60,000 to Stop Act Grant. You want me to read them all? No. A date prepared, 10/10/2025, prepared by Cynthia Guerreri, Director of Social Services.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Are there any comments? Seeing none, roll call. Jeff? Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I see in this resolution, there's education, public awareness. Those are all components that are pieces of the initiative. I also see in the resolution, it says funds will support compliance checks to be carried out by the Enfield Police Department. I guess my question is, I see all the money allocated here, and it doesn't exactly say what funds, what monies are going to be allocated to the police department for compliance checks, inspections, random enforcement. So I just have a couple questions regarding that. And I see it's given to Social Services, the grant for 4 years. What role does the police department play? Does Chief Fox have any say, the police department have any say in how these funds are used? So those are some of the questions I'm looking to have answered if possible.
Matt, can we have Cindy come up?
Yes, please.
What'd she say?
He's in the back. He's in the back.
You guys are watching it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're watching
it.
You're going to give short, quick answers.
He's just sitting here watching TV. He's fine.
Cindy Guerreri, Director of Social Services. Good evening, and congratulations to us. We applied back in the spring with your approval and awarded. It was a very competitive national grant, and so we are awarded. It's largely in response to the good work of the Enfield Together Coalition that's been in place for well over a decade. And so this will help us focus in on preventing alcohol abuse by 12 to 20-year-olds. In answer to your question about the police, they have historically worked with us twice a year to do compliance checks, and it's led by Lieutenant Pedimonte, and he uses the Explorers, and they go to do compliance checks twice a year. And so, I'm sorry, the overtime is what is contributed to their police.
Okay. So they go twice a year. Are there referrals?
purpose, yeah.
Are there referrals that are received during the course of the year, though, in which you have to go do spot inspections or unannounced inspections?
That is not to do with this grant. This grant is strictly prevention, and we write in 2 compliance checks.
Okay. Gotcha.
Are you satisfied? You got what you need?
I'm good for now. Thank you.
Mike?
Hey, Cindy, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
And part of you say data collection. Have we applied for this in the past?
I'm sorry?
Have we applied and got this grant in the past?
It has been received in Enfield previous to my
So
being here. but-
what are we going to collect for it? I mean, we have the system. that's
So we
part-
have, we do, as you know, we do the every other year youth survey through the JFK and high school in partnership with the school. And the good news is that we collect data on how often people are using and time in between. So the good news is over the lifetime of ETC and the youth surveys, we have seen a decline. So we have the
Do
data
you-
that does
do you
support
collect
that.
all the touch points? So all the different to what you're describing is, whether it's a survey or it's you do it on TV. I mean, do we actually track in the data collection? The system that you have where, all right, hey, we see maybe what is most effective.
The data collected in this is the youth survey data specifically.
That's it. So there's
Right.
So if you're doing awareness, it's through that.
Correct.
Okay.
And through the coalition work.
And so that's collecting in the system, and you guys will report out on that. The effectiveness. And,
Right.
Right.
So we are looking forward to, I know that we're going to be able to present an annual report soon
And
to
I think,
whoever's
again,
on.
you should emphasize, emphasize that because you spent the money years ago to get the system to collect the data.
Oh, you're
And
talking
then-
a separate, the
Right.
apricot system.
And so then you
Yep.
can actually say, look, this is what your tax dollars are achieving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
We
again,
have
I think
that
it's
data.
important for you guys to highlight that because I know you're collecting it. Show people what their tax dollars are achieving.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You good, Mike?
Yep.
Deputy Mayor Pisner?
So the only thing I had underlined here was the $32,000 for other professional. What exactly, is that for a position or?
It's for, to continue working with our outside consultants. So the social marketing campaign work, the strategic communications consultant that's helping the implementation of the strategic plan with the coalition.
So there's no salaries involved in here
Absolutely
that would
not.
go away
No
with
new
that?
staff
I just wanted,
needed.
I wanted to just make sure of that. All right, thank you,
The only
Cindy.
thing staffing related is the police overtime.
Perfect, thank you.
Anyone else? Are you good with the answers, Chef, or?
Yeah, there's just a few things I would discuss, but I don't think I should make them, for the public here. So those are conversations maybe I can have offline with some people. So I don't want to give secrets or strategy of the trade and exactly. I mean, I think we probably divulged maybe even too much tonight. So I'll just kind of leave it at that for now. I'm a little apprehensive about bringing up some other points that we can, that probably aren't for the public.
Okay. All right, roll call, please.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
4.
Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Kursati.
4.
Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Thank you. Next is a resolution authorizing the reduction of property maintenance fines at 6 Thompson Court. Be it resolved, the Enfield Town Council does hereby authorize the reduction in property maintenance fines from $48,174 to $500 associated with the property maintenance lien recorded on June 25th, 2021, volume 2802, page 891, for the property at 6 Thompson Court. Date prepared 10/10/25, prepared by the Office of Economic and Community Development.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Now, this came from the Blight Committee. It was a unanimous decision to do this. The people, probably one of the nicest houses in Thompsonville. They live next to an apartment building. When people move out, they just feel they can throw their trash anywhere they want, including furnitures and mattresses. They went above and beyond, and they got so tired of, town drives by, sees it on their lawn, they get fined. They actually paid and put a big fence up down the property line. It looks beautiful. They've never been violated since then.
That's my fence. I put it up.
Oh, your fence, whoever. Anyways, it stopped the trash from getting thrown over. So kudos to them. And any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
4.
Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
And Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Thank you. Next is fiscal year 2025 year-end transfers. Be it resolved that in accordance with Chapter 6, Section 8F of the Town Charter, the following transfers are hereby made. Please see Attachment A. Date prepared, 10/14/2025, prepared by John A. Wilcox, and there are 4 pages.
Second.
Okay, are there any questions on this? Just balances out. Go ahead, Bob.
Just one question. So it's fiscal year 2025. Do we always do it in October? I'm just trying to remember.
I don't know recently if that's been the time frame. I know when I was here last, we would do it usually towards the September, October timeframe. So I'm assuming yes now, but that's kind of standard where it was at, because it takes a few months to get everything balanced and closed out to be able to make those.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call.
Counselor Ludwig.
4.
Counselor Mangini.
4.
Counselor Nasuda.
4.
Mayor Nelson.
4.
Deputy Mayor Pisner.
4.
Counselor Russo.
4.
Counselor Santinella.
4.
Counselor Ungary.
4.
Counselor Sakala.
4.
Counselor Crisati.
4.
And Counselor Hendrickson.
4.
11 in favor, none against.
Thank you. Next is items for discussion. Seeing none. Any other business proper to come before said meeting? Seeing none. Public communication. Would anybody like to come forward and speak? Kelly Hemler.
But I was watching on TV and was like, what the heck is going on? Kelly Hemler, 10 Hartford Ave. I shop at Corona's also. The best meat, the best deli, and I take my life into my hands every time I go. So yes, I think that there definitely needs to be something there to either calm things down or have a crosswalk. And I do remember one there, and then all of a sudden it wasn't there, and then I thought maybe I didn't see it there before. Apologize for not making it for the first communications. So, Councilor Nasuda, thank you. You did a great job. I know that your expertise was appreciated, and congratulations and thank you for your service. It's much appreciated. And Councilor Ludwig. So, if you guys don't know, he started as a young man back in the 90s. Went away, raised his family, and then came back. I had the privilege of serving under you as mayor. Best 2 years ever. I learned so much. And Mike, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Kelly. Anyone else? Angela?
Angela Foss, 16 Crescent Beach Drive, Enfield. I also would have to thank Jim Nasuda for his amazing work in the 2 years he's been working on the town council. I appreciate everything that you've done. And Councilor Ludwig, I as well really do appreciate all of your efforts. You are a very hard worker, a real trooper for the underdogs in the town, which is what you do. And I also want to thank, I don't know if I'm allowed to say all these thank yous, but thank you to all of you, including Mr. Crisati, for the positive information that I received tonight and for the hard work done by our town manager. I do want to give you appreciation for that presentation. Very well done, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. Anyone else? Seeing Jeff?
Jeffrey Foss, 16 Crescent Beach Drive, Enfield. I just want to clear up what you stated, that it was incorrect. The fence that went up on Thompson Court, I personally put it up. The people who happen to live at the property you're discussing here, that you're dropping their fines, this has been going on for 15 years. They create their own problem. That's their trash. It's not coming from my apartment buildings. I happen to own both sides of them. So I personally take everything to the dump with my own truck, and it's a weekly thing, and a lot of it comes from that property. It happens to migrate over into my property. It's just the opposite of what you're saying. I put up the fence. that was me a couple weeks ago. I just want to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, Councilman, Deputy Mayor Pisner.
So I didn't say my thank yous before, so I'm going to say them quickly now. Jim, thank you. You were great to work with. Mike, goes without saying. To each and every one of us that sits up here, it really is true. It's a volunteer job, and we may not always get along, but we are all here for the same reasons. We want to move Enfield in the right direction. And so thank you to each and every one of you, and I wish us all good luck. And everybody vote.